Hello, everyone. Welcome to month 2 of our external outreach podcast. We're so happy for everyone coming back, and we got some great responses last month from the people we reached out to. Very happy with everything that was coming in. We got lots of good emails. If you or your high school are not on our email list yet, please reach out to us at our email address listed on the screen now. We would love to send this to you guys. So I'm here today with Callie, and we're going to mostly be talking about study and organization tips.
Awesome. Thanks, Catherine. So, this week, as she said, we're going to be focusing on study and organization tips. And kind of going along with that, we are going to be implementing a high school Penpal program where you guys, the students, will be able to connect with a pen pal, one of us who's a member of SWE. We can put you together by interest major, anything you guys want to talk about. We would prefer like emails and Zoom calls just because of the pandemic right now. We want to keep everybody as safe as possible, but let us know if that's something you would be interested in. We're going to start putting that together and hopefully have it up and running by mid to late October.
So, as mentioned before, our main topic for this podcast is organization and study tips. So, one of the most important things that I think is really essential in having organization in college and especially in high school is having a planner. Whether you do a paper one or an app or just on your computer, it's really what is up to you, but it's super, super important. So any paper planner usually will work. I personally just use like a notebook and kind of do a bullet journal fashion where you make it up as you go. However, some people really prefer just planners that have like a daily breakdown or a weekly breakdown or a monthly breakdown. All of it's important so you can keep track of different things that are happening in your classes, in extracurriculars, or anything like that. If you prefer something like an app, you could use Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar, depending on what your university uses. If you want to utilize to-do lists, you could do like Microsoft to-do lists on your iPhone, on like your Android. Anything like that that creates a list of tasks that you have to do will be super useful to you. So at the beginning of each semester, whether you're in high school or whether you're in college, you should definitely look through the syllabus for your class and write down any of your major events like tests or project due dates. While these might change, it still helps to kind of get an overview of what your semester is going to be looking like so that you're able to plan out, okay, I have to schedule these days on this week to work on this project since it's due on like October 3rd or something like that. Finally, make sure you schedule days to have lots of self-care. It is so easy to get burnt out working on school all the time. It's all you're going to be thinking about, especially in college. So make sure that you take time to, maybe you want to go and like do a face mask or something, or maybe you want to go have like a night with your friends and watch some like movies and stuff. But it's super, super essential. So please, please, please don't forget to do that. I know I have to do that like once every week. Finally, utilize your upperclassmen. They might seem scary. I always thought they were scary, especially when I was a freshman, but they are genuinely there to help you no matter what. So make sure you ask them, whether they be your TAs in other classes, other people in your major that you can reach out to, anything like that, make sure to talk to them. Another important way to stay organized is to make sure all the files on your computer are correctly put into the right sections. So, for example, I have a 2019-2020 academic school year folder on my computer, and then within that folder, I have a separate folder for each class. This ensures that if you have two classes that have kind of similar content, you don't attach the wrong file. I know I've done this before. It was actually for one of my final exams. My professor had emailed me. He was like, "Oh, are you make sure? Or like, is this the right document?" I was like, "Oh gosh, sorry." So it's super, super imperative that you keep things organized. It might seem like overkill, and I'm someone who definitely likes to organize things and keep everything exactly where it needs to be, but you will not regret it if you do. Most of your classes are going to have a lot of online content, so storing things on your computer, whether it be on your UC OneDrive if you come to UC, or on Google Drive, or honestly just on your computer itself, just make sure that you have somewhere that you can easily back things up in case you lose them. A flash drive is a great option for this.
All right, those are some really good tips, Catherine. So, another tip that I like to use a lot is something that's simple but is routinely overlooked is just go to class. especially in college when a lot of professors don't take attendance. A lot of people have the tendencies to skip class, but if you go, you're going to get some crucial information that your classmates aren't getting, and you'll get to build a relationship with your classmates, your TAs, and your professors, and that will be very valuable to you if you ever have any questions or concerns. Your professor will know who you are if you decide to go to their office hours. And that's another tip that I have, is just to go to your professor's office hours. Make it a point to go at least once a semester, even if it's just to ask a simple question, just to kind of introduce yourself and make yourself known in the class. Because if you have an issue or something comes up later on, if they know who you are and they know your name, they're going to be more willing to help you out than someone who's emailing them the day before the semester who hasn't put any effort into the class. And also, especially with a lot of online learning going on right now, I also recommend that you try to stay on top of your work as best as possible. If you are so inclined, try to stay maybe a day or two ahead. Make sure you're working through all your problems, so as you get questions, you can ask your friends, your professors, and everyone in a timely manner. So another thing you can do is you also can rewrite your notes to help you study and do practice problems. Especially if you're considering majoring in engineering, a lot of math and science courses aren't based on memorization, they're based more on application. So make sure you're doing a lot of practice problems, redoing homework problems, and just the more practice you get, the more comfortable you're going to feel. And when you get to the test, it's going to be simply muscle memory from that point. And also, for all of you guys that are transitioning from high school to college, make sure that you take into account that in college the tests are going to be a little bit more difficult and a little bit more tedious than, say, a high school test. Someone who's in a high school setting, they just want to make sure that you understand the material and you paid attention. Meanwhile, in college, professors are usually just checking to make sure that you understand the problem and not just the surface level material. So they want to make sure that you understand how to do each and every step and can apply your knowledge to more complex problems. So you always want to make sure to double check your work, and especially if you were someone in high school like me who finished their tests very early, very quickly, make sure in college to look everything over and double check to make sure that everything's right. I got a really good tip from one of my professors that if you struggle kind of going back at the end of the test and you don't feel like you have enough time, try to check your work as you're going. So say you finish the first question and you think you're right. So just quickly go back through, try to rework the problem from a different angle really quickly, and if you get the same answer, keep going, don't look back. You feel confident in that problem. And I use that strategy a lot, and I found it helps me better manage my time and focus on the problems that I need assistance with. And especially as you study for your bigger exams, you don't have as many exams in college, and they're a little bit more weighted, they're a little bit more important. Make sure that you don't study all the night before. Make sure to break it up into chunks. I like to review as the semester goes, so I like to dedicate a couple hours each weekend to just kind of reviewing what I learned in all my classes that week, and I've realized that that's a really good way for me to learn and kind of make sure that I know the material as we go, because a lot of your STEM classes build on each other, and you really want to make sure that you understand the foundation levels before you keep going into your more difficult courses.
And our final tip is, if your classes are going to be mostly online, even if they're in person, honestly, create a group chat with a lot of the people in your class or in your different co-op rotation. This group will allow you to kind of bounce ideas off each other. If someone's really struggling on a problem in the homework, you can ask for clarification in that group, and everyone will be very eager and willing to help you because, we're all trying to get our majors, we're all trying to do well, so no one's going to say, oh, we're not going to help you because I want to do better than you. It's not really that kind of mentality in college. Additionally, these groups will let you be reminded of due dates and answer different things about like test questions and things like that. So this is super, super essential.
Alright guys, so this month we are here with Hannah, and Hannah is a mechanical engineering student. So I'm going to have her tell us a little bit more about herself and her major here at UC.
So I chose mechanical engineering because I loved every type of engineering, whether that be electrical, aerospace, or environmental. So I really couldn't pick just a specific discipline. And so I thought mechanical engineering would be a good mix of everything. And so far, I'm pretty right. Most of the classes are physics-based, so you take a lot of physics, kinematics, and kinetics classes, but there's also signal systems and controls, as well as various thermodynamics courses. I'm also pursuing minors in materials engineering and nano engineering just because I've discovered that I really like to work with physical properties of materials. Um, Being a female in mechanical engineering, there's about a 10% ratio of women to men. So with that, you definitely have to advocate for yourself and you belong there and you need to remember that. So show your confidence and don't be afraid to really put yourself out there in some difficult situations. But up until this point, I haven't had any problems with people with like respect or anything. I definitely chose SWE as my outlet with other women. So I don't have too many female classmates that I talk to, but I am able to get that interaction through SWE and other organizations, which is what initially drew it to me in the first place.
Awesome, that sounds so cool. So, what are some different types of co ops you've done, and what are kind of some options for co ops?
So when it comes to co-ops in mechanical engineering, there are so many different paths you can go down. I've completed 3 different co-ops. My first one was with Mortensen Construction, which is a civil company. And then I've done 2 with Siemens Digital Industries, which is a software company. So there's a lot of different diversity. I know people have done manufacturing, design, chemical companies. So with mechanical engineering, because it's such a broad field, you can go down any path. And when looking for various co-ops, don't limit yourself with a company you think that you'll want. Be open to talking to anyone. Even if it's just for practice, you might find out that you actually really like them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Hannah. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much for listening through our podcast this month. We are so grateful for everyone listening in. We put lots of hard work into this, so thank you for being here. I hope you got a lot out of our tips this month. These are some of the things that really have been the most valuable to us as we go through our college process, so we hope they are good for you.
Yeah, and once again, make sure to connect with us on social media if you're willing. Our links are going to be in the description. And let us know if you would like to be a part of the Penpal program. We are really hoping to get a large turnout and get some really good connections going.
Thank you so much for listening in, and we'll see you next month.